You know, I'm excited to be here again with you today. And I'm not here today to go with the next studies, but rather I'm here to discuss some issues about what we can do as Christians as far as what I have actually lived in Haiti during my mission work. So let us go into the message as soon as we can. We're going to bring that first screen up. And I'm glad that you can be part of this message. It's not going to be a sermon specifically, but it's more like a message to the leaders not only in the churches, but leaders everywhere. I decided to speak on the matter because so many people nowadays are talking about the fate of Haiti. As far as what has been going on in Haiti, I was there for over a month just recently, and I've heard a lot of things, and also from certain experiences, because I'm someone who is in the position to speak, who can see from both sides, from both ends, those living in Haiti and those living in what they call diaspora. And in my position, I'm one who cannot receive any negative from either end, from either side. Because as someone who was born in Haiti, and I came here in 6th grade, so I guess it is safe to say that Haiti breastfed me, and the U.S. actually made me who I am, because that's why I went to all my secondary school and everything else. So that's why I cannot accept anyone to come to me and tell me negative things on Haiti or negative things on the U.S. But rather, if you're Christians, you're here to fight a spiritual battle, not to look at what you are seeing, because our battle is by faith, not by what we see. Okay. I had two recent experiences that led me to speak to you on this matter. The first experience was on YouTube, where one, in a heated discussion, I should say, one directly, or rather indirectly, labeled Haiti as one of the descendants of Noah who totally went astray because of voodoo. So I had to give that guy, whoever he was, I had to give him a lesson on what voodoo is and where it came from. I don't have time to go into this discussion, but if you do your studies, you can see that voodoo originally is one of the branches that came from that lesson I did the last time as far as Babylon with Nimrod and everything else. Voodoo is has actually come from Baalism, Baal, which is the sun god, Nimrod. That's what started everything. It's a god of fire. A god of fire. In Haiti, you call it Kanzo, that branch of it. So we're not discussing that today, but this is one of the experiences I had that I had to say something as one who can see from both ends. The second experience I had is that I was on the, I was listening to the radio, listening to one pastor that I admire very much. That was from one of the program that I used to listen to a lot. I just can't get to it, that's why I'm not listening to it as often, because I used to follow it over, I used to stream it. Actually, there was a heated debate about some guys who came and wanted to show the public that Haiti is one of the 12 tribes of Israel. And I finally realized that those who mostly support that are those coming out of the new generation, and the older generation are totally objecting it. I'm not here to give you my opinion or do a study on that tonight. Like tonight, what I want to discuss about is a way we can deal with the situation not only in Haiti, but over here. Because as you know, on that flag there is an emblem, there is a symbol that says strength is in unity. And that's exactly one problem that that is generating all that turmoil, all that problems in Haiti because of a lack of unity. And we have the same things going on in the churches, except that no one is discussing it. And those of us who would dare to discuss it, they would push you in a corner or try to get rid of it. Okay. All I can say that as far as all these discussions, all the turmoil that's going on in Haiti, and for those who are still talking about what can be done, and those who are in the faith, I want to run a parallel between Israel and Haiti so that we can better see, so we can have an idea. For those who know the Bible, that's why, you know, I take my time to go throughout the Bible. As you can see, I'm doing a study. I started from Genesis 1. Right now, I think I'm getting ready to go into Genesis 12. If God gives me health, I intend to go to Revelation, the last chapter of Revelation, which I think is what, 22, I believe. Okay, so here, after this discussion, after this message, you will see that the same thing that has been going on in Israel is the same thing that's going on in Haiti until now. In fact, I would dare to say that the same spirit that was leading Israel is, to me, the same spirit that is leading Haiti right now. Specifically, I wanted to start with what happened with one of the tribes. Let me narrow on the tribe of Levi, which is one of the tribes who gave the most problems in Israel, especially at the beginning. The first thing that happened with the tribe of Levi, their father put some kind of curse on them. If you look in, I believe in Genesis 49, where Jacob was blessing the 12 tribes, when it came to Reuben, Reuben was the oldest, and he said, Reuben, you came to my bed. For those of you who don't know that, Reuben got involved with Jacob's concubine or whoever that was. That's not what we discuss right now. So Reuben didn't get what he should have had as the firstborn. When he got to Judah, of course, Judah got the blessing. If you look in Genesis 49, where he said that the scepter will not turn away from Judah until Shiloh comes, talking about Jesus, and which is exactly what happened. When Jacob got to Levi, he said, Levi, you are cruel, and you didn't listen to me, and I'm not going to share this with you because your cruelty for what you have done. In fact, I will disperse you, I will scatter you in Israel. That's why you see all the Levites, not only they were not allowed to have land or anything else, God turned it into a blessing because they ended up doing God's work, of course, but they were scattered through the 12 tribes. You understand? Because this was prophesied. That's why a lot of people, they don't take certain things in the Bible seriously. That's why you don't want your mom or dad to pronounce anything on you. You got to take that seriously, especially if that person is a godly person. If that person is someone who is drinking, who is just having a nice time, the devil can be using that person to try to curse you. But whoever got blessed remains blessed. So God changed that. Why did Levi say that? Because all the other brothers of Levi, when their sister Dana was raped by a prince, they agreed to listen to their father and to do things in a way, rational manner. But then again, Levi decided to team up with Simeon, and they went and killed all those guys. So, of course, Jacob did not like very much. So he ended up putting a curse on Levi to have him dispersed. And we know that that's one of God's way also to show his discontent. Whenever God is not happy with the people, he leaves you not only into servitude, which is slavery, or scattered. As you know, the 12 tribes of Israel were the 10 tribes, the northern tribes were the first to be scattered. Then came Judah, along with Benjamin, and Levi was always present within the 12 tribes. Why? Because Levi was already scattered among the 12 tribes. So, to tell you the truth, it's three things that you can find in Levi that you can also find in Haiti. What is it? First is like they cannot listen to their leaders. They are prompt to follow idols. See, a lot of people think Israel was always like a holy people and no sins, no this, no that. But look at these things and I'll give you those verses. First, Korah. You remember the rebellion of Korah, Dathan and Abiram. And that's in Numbers 16 if you want to read it, because they figured, hey, look, Moses, how can you elevate yourself higher over us? They're always fighting for position. Why? Because God wanted to set Aaron and his son aside to do the work of the high priest. And they didn't like that because all the Levites were assigned that position at that time. But now, just like before that, the patriarch, they were doing the sacrifice, just like, they were like the priests of the family. And then it came down to the Levites. Then God assigned the priesthood specifically to the line of Aaron. And those guys, one of those Levites, Korah, sided up with two other guys, the sons, they are the sons of Reuben, the firstborn. Maybe they said, well, we're the firstborn, we should be doing that. but they were going against God, and you know what happened to them. You can read Numbers 16. Like I said, they like going against their leaders, which you don't do, period. And if you have to protest, there are a way to protest. Anyway, just like you can see here, they had a lot of protests at one time, at the time of Martin Luther King, where they used to have march. You don't go and start throwing rocks and burning and everything else, especially talking down your leaders and everything else. You don't do it, period. When David's companions offered to go and take down Saul, David said, no, let God take care of him. God put him there as a leader. It's not for me to go and kill him. Let God deal with him. And that's the way you should do. If someone is your leader, is not someone who came through a coup or anything else, that person deserves some respect, because the Bible said, you can read it in Romans 13, that you have to be subjected to authority, because authorities are from God, no matter how evil the person is. Authorities are from God. Sometimes if you need an evil leader, God will give it to you to straighten you up. If it's a good time where you are walking according to God's rules and regulation, He's going to give you a leader like David. So that's one thing you find among the Levites that you find a lot in Haiti. The second thing, they are prompt to follow idols. What happened? There was also among the Levites, I'm going to give you the verses. I'm not making it up. I don't want you to say, well, Pastor Berthold is a good teacher and stuff, but he's making a lot of stuff up. I'm not. That you can read in Exodus 32, specifically verses 21 and 22. When Moses went up the mountain to speak to God and get the commandments, the first thing you know, the people turned their back on God, and Aaron, who was supposed to be the head of the Levites, the sons of Levi, Aaron turned out to fashion, to mold a golden calf, which is nothing but a symbol of Baal. You can go into Babylon the Great, that other video I did previously in Genesis 11. I'm going into Genesis 12 the next time. So what happened here, when Moses confronted Aaron, when he came down from the mountain, and he said, Aaron, what got into you? Why did you do this to those people? How did you get these people into this kind of trouble with God? What did people do to you? Guess what Aaron answered? You can read it in verse 22, Exodus 32, verse 22. Aaron said, you know these people is prompt to do evil. This is also another threat that you can see in that parallel I'm running with Haiti and the Levites. First, they don't like leadership. Second, they prompt to follow idol. Third, the third one that I'm giving you three. The third one, even though they're very quick to follow idols, but they love God. They're crazy about God. Guess what? Right after Moses had ordered from God, and he said, well, you know what? These people, they're going to girdle their sword. They're going to girdle their loins, and they're going to start killing each other. But right before that, Moses had a last call. He said, who is on the Lord's side? Guess who came running? All the Levites came running first. So for those of you who don't understand what Israel is all about, you think Israel is nothing but a holy people. Israel is a stiff neck. That's true. Read the Bible. It's all throughout the Bible. when God is sending Jeremiah or those prophets, he said, they're not going to listen to you, but you're going to go and speak to them anyway. And you know the word, when it comes to you, it comes to you to either for you to repent and come to God, or it's going to be a condemnation to you. So when the word is being spoken, it's not for fun, because none of the prophets wanted to be like a bringer of fear mongers, as some people said, or someone who's bringing destructions. No. So what I'm saying here, the last thing with that group of people, that tribe, is like they love God, and they also are very quick to turn over to Baal or voodoo or whatever you want to call it. Because this thing has been in Israel. And guess who introduced it to Israel? Not only Aaron, who is the head of the Levites, reintroduced it here because that's what they knew in Egypt. Because God told Moses, your people, they have perverted themselves, you go down. It's funny how God, when God is talking about saving the Israelites, he said, my people, but when they messed up, he told Moses, your people, they have perverted themselves, you go. So let's go to the next slide. Okay. One thing with Israel's destiny was already planned, and God had already mapped it out for Moses. That's why you see Moses, when he's speaking to the Israelites, he told them, well, I know you're stiff-necked people, and you're going to get what you deserve from the Lord. But Israel knows also that in the latter days, God is going to raise Israel again. That's what a lot of people don't realize. That's why a lot of us in the churches think that this job is for the churches. But remember, for those of you who dare to read the book of Revelation, I know in most of your churches, they're not even going to tell you to read it because they said, you're going to be raptured up. So you don't need to know these things. But guess what? The 144,000 are from the 12 tribes of Israel. 12,000 out of each tribe, that would add it up to 144,000. Come on now, pastors. You know better. Because a lot of the pastors, they're not even going to touch the book of Revelation. Why? I don't know. Like I said, a lot of times, I used to say that all the time in my congregation. Maybe that's one reason why I'm not well beloved among the pastors. But as long as I'm doing God's work, I don't really care what they think, because I'm a human being like everyone else. I wasn't born in the gospel, but once I understand it, because a lot of people think when I say something negative probably about what's going on in the Catholic Church, that I hate the Catholics. No. Guess what? When I was born, my parents, they were Catholics. And the Catholic Church took me from after kindergarten all the way to what they call in Haiti, certificate. And they did a pretty good job as far as discipline, as far as the education and everything else. We're talking about the French friars that came from France, who headed the schools in Haiti, who are directing the schools in Haiti until now. So I don't have anything against them. Like Martin Luther, once you wake up, you go back and tell them, remember Martin Luther nailed 95 theses and say, let's get it together, let's get it right. You don't go and turn your back on your brothers you go back and try to win them. Now, if they don't want to turn things around, now it's between them and God. You're not going to go and kill them. See, that's what a lot of people don't understand. But as far as I'm concerned, once I'm still speaking the Bible, the Word of God, I'm only a messenger. As much as you may not like what I'm saying, but I stay in the Bible. Here, I give you those verses. I'm not making anything up. So here, we see that Moses knew. God told Moses Israel's destiny. God told Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, what he is expecting from them and what they're getting if they rebel, and what they're not getting if they rebel. On the other end, on the other side, what they will get if they follow him. And of course, Moses already knew, as a stiff-necked people, they're going to get the negative things, which they're still reaping until now. But God, because of his promise to Abraham, to Jacob, to Isaac, is going to keep his word. Not because Israel is better than any other nation. Let's keep it going. Okay. Moses' opening remarks right after the children of Israel came out of Egypt was, if he will obey my voice indeed and keep my covenant, ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests and a holy nation. You see that Peter is repeating the same thing. You can see that also in the readings of Paul. So here we see that in Exodus 19, verses 1, 5, 6. You can also read that in Deuteronomy 26, verses 17 through 19, when it's specifically said that thou hast avouched the Lord this day to be thy God. You vow that the Lord is your God, and the Lord hath avouched thee this day to be his peculiar people. So God accepted you to be a holy nation, priest that he's going to use, and you accept it. Okay. So guess what happened? Israel was no better than anyone else. God had mercy upon Israel. You can read that in Exodus, in Ezekiel 16. It's specifically verse 8. God was talking to Israel through the prophet Ezekiel, because God always has a prophet to send them, specifically when he's going to take some action against them. God said through Ezekiel, in Ezekiel 16, I passed by thee and looked upon thee. Behold, thy time was the time of love, and I spread my skirt over thee and covered thy nakedness. Yea, I swear unto thee and entered into a covenant with thee. A covenant, saith the Lord God, and thou becamest mine. Okay, so remember, some of you may be saying, what type of covenant you talking about? Remember, Jesus talked about the second covenant, the covenant through his blood. Well, that covenant also was done through his blood. When the people stood before Moses, and Moses sprinkled the blood over all the people, and they said, we'll do as the Lord will say. We accept to be God's people, and God accept them to be their people. Some people have big problems against that. What do you mean as God's people? Everybody is God's people. Well, they're not quick to say that when it comes to people signing pacts, signing contracts with the devil. They don't say that, because when you sign those pacts with your own blood, you become his her daughter or his son. Some people talking about bloodline and stuff like that. I do believe that God is trying to save everybody, whether you from any bloodline, as long as you're still human, because God died. Jesus' salvation is for humankind, not for demons, not for fallen angels, not for those who rebelled against God who are not human. Okay, so the covenant I'm talking about here can be found in Exodus 24, verses 7 and 8, when Moses sprinkled the blood over all the people there, and it says, behold the blood of the covenant which the Lord had made with you. Okay, so it's nothing to not to understand. A lot of people saying, why do they speak about a remnant? Why do they speak about an elect? I have a little definition for the elect in Creole, when I teach in Creole, which means those who are the Zobuke, which means like in Haiti, people would be throwing like a chicken bone to a dog, and the dog would chew that up. Would throw a turkey bone, the dog would do the same. But when you throw like a beef bones to the dog is gonna just nibble on it and suck on it and do everything, but the dog is gonna end up leaving the bone, which they call zo bouquet, which means that bone worried the dog out. The dog had to leave it alone. That's what happened with the elect. Is that group of people that no matter what, that stand in the midst, God is gonna get through because of his promise to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Okay, let's go to the next slide. Now, you've heard of Jacob's trouble, and we wonder why. Why the trouble? As I said before, if you sign a contract, you're going to have to honor it. If you don't honor it, we all know if you sign for a mortgage, we all know if you co-sign for somebody, that person is not paying, they're coming after you. But you have a lot of people that have problems to understand that. Why is God angry with Israel? Well, the same thing that when you sign a contract with the devil, you do not execute it. The devil has no compassion to go and try to work things out with you. He's going to chew you up. He's going to offer you in sacrifice. And in most of those Satanism circle, they're going to chew you up. When I say chew you up, they're going to eat you. I mean, literally eat you. Some of you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay. Now, why Israel started having problems? Of course, because they broke the contract. This is what Moses told them in Deuteronomy 32:15. Deuteronomy 32:15. It says, thou art waxing fat. You became fat. Thou art grown thick. Thou art covered with fatness. Then he forsook God, which made him. Talking about Israel. So a lot of people, that's what happened. They in Haiti, they're having a hard time, they can't eat well, they cannot feed their children. They said, Lord, you send me to the U.S. where I can make some money and help my children, and I'll serve you. And they come here, that's what happened, and they turn away from God. So, not only they did that, they provoked God to jealousy with strange gods. That's in Deuteronomy 32, verse 16 through 20. They provoke God to jealousy with strange gods. That's what happened when you get involved in voodoo and all these things. They sacrifice unto devils. This can be found also in some of the Psalms. I think Psalms 106, I believe, where God is specifically showing that they've been sacrificing to devils. And I'm talking about both Israel and Haiti. So what happened? God hid his face from them. God doesn't have to beat you up and whip you and do all these things that some of you guys are saying that God is a mean God. God is not a mean God. He is the creator. He's the real Father. Except that when you're destroying his kids, just like any mother can become like as evil as anybody else if you're trying to beat up the mother's babies. So that's how God's get. That's what happened at the time of the flood. Those at the beginning of Genesis 6, we went over it, where those giants started really messing around and messing God's creation. God had to destroy them. And some people said, well, how come God would allow them to destroy kids also and things like that? Well, these are not human. Those creatures out of in Genesis 6, they're not human. They there to pervert mankind. That's why when I say pervert mankind, I mean the human. They're trying to do away with the humankind. So God had to destroy them. Okay, this is going to be our last slide for now. We're going. It's 6 slides altogether, but I'm taking 3. This is our third, and then I'll take the other 3. So of course, God got angry because of what Israel was doing, and they said, I will scatter them in every corners where the whole world will forget about Israel. They will forget if Israel ever existed. I know a lot of people may not understand what's going on. The children of Israel are still in existence. Some people, especially those of us in the churches, I was one of them saying that I couldn't understand that everything is over with Israel. The church took over. The church has its own job, and Israel has its own job. You can read that in the book of Romans. Start reading from Romans 9 all the way through Romans 11. I'm not making it up. You go and read it. Spend some time in the Bible. So here in Deuteronomy 32, verses 20 and 26, God said, I will hide my face from them, and I'm going to make sure that all the other nations forgot about them. Like they don't exist. God also said, because ye multiplied more than the nations that are round about you. You see where I'm coming from? Remember what Pharaoh said? These guys are multiplying so much, we got to do something quickly and kill the firstborn, the boys in specific. So God said, okay, since you guys multiply so much and you defile my sanctuary with all these detestable things, therefore will I also diminish thee. I'm going to kind of diminish you. And how is he going to do it? And this can be found in Ezekiel 5, 7, and 11, and also in Zechariah 13, 7 through 9. Write it down. I'm not making it up. In fact, in Zechariah 13, 7 through 9, where the prophet said, awake, O my sword. I will go against the shepherd, my shepherd, the man who is my fellow, and the sheep will be scattered. Okay? What happened? 1/3 will be killed through pestilence. You guys heard about AIDS, about Ebola and all things like that. With famine. You see what's going on in Haiti. Some people, you're not aware of that, some of you, but you know that in Haiti, it was a time, I don't know if they're still doing that, where people were making dirt cake, so some of them would survive. You would, 1/3 would die in pestilence and famine. 1/3 will die by the sword. That's why the Lord sometimes send a nation against Israel, and they enslave them, kill them. That has been Israel's life, in and out of servitude. And the 1/3, God said 1/3, I will draw out a sword after them. I promised their forefathers, I'm bringing them home. That 1/3, the elect, I'm bringing them home. So you guys now understand what the Father does. I remember when I was a little kid in Haiti, I'm playing marbles with all my friends when I should be studying. When my dad comes around, he's not going after the other guys, not studying, playing marbles. He came after me and had me to go inside and get into in my books. So that's exactly what happened to Israel. Israel is still going through troubles, and God himself had to cry when he's giving them over to their enemies. You can read that in Hosea 11 verse 8. God said through Hosea, how can I give you up, O Ephraim? Ephraim at that time was the biggest tribe of Israel. If you said Ephraim, you said Israel. You said Israel, you said Ephraim. How can I give you up, O Ephraim? How can I hand you over, O Israel? How can I make you like Admah? How can I treat you like Zeboim? My heart recalls within me. My compassion grows warm and tender. So when God is giving you over to your enemies, when God is giving you to famine, to pestilence and everything else, he's trying to wake you up, because to God, your soul is more important than all the delicious things that the world around you is having. Understand, you are not part of the world. That's why the prophet said specifically, how can two walk together if they don't agree? So I hope that these first three slides gave you a perfect understanding of what went on in Israel when they did not listen, and what's going on in Haiti right now. And of course, for those of you who believe that Haiti is one of the tribes, take heed. Especially if you're one of the elect, take heed. For those of you who don't believe, for the sake of security, do the right thing, because God, this is the time of grace where God is picking up everybody, not only Israel, everybody, the heathen. That's what Jesus said. Well, you cannot fill my house. They're not going to come to the invitation. Go out by the highway, the byway, get the cripple, get everybody. So this is your time, whether you are through Israel, whether you are a descendant of Israel or not, this is your time. This is the time of the heathen. May God bless you.